Some say that this mural, this labor mural that Paul LePage has taken down, or I guess not the mural, but the controversy surrounding the mural, that it's a non-issue, it's a distraction from the actual policy-based war on the working class. I disagree that this is a distraction. I think that it's a poetic embodiment of exactly what's wrong with our country today. When the fascist Roman Empire would invade and occupy another nation, the first thing they would do is tear down their symbols of national identity and replace them with their own. The reason why they did this was because they were psychological tacticians. They realized that if they did this, it sent a message that we won. Stop fighting. When the Nazis invaded and occupied another nation, the first thing that they would do would be tear down the symbols of national identity and replace them with their own. They did this to say, we've won. Stop fighting. When the United States invaded and occupied Iraq, the first thing that we did was start tearing down symbols of national identity and replacing them with our own in order to say, we've won. Stop fighting. And in the war on the working class, this is exactly what Paul LePage has done, whether he realizes it or not. Many of you are going to say, I think you're giving way too much credit to Paul LePage here. But one must realize, however, that Paul LePage isn't a psychological tactician. He isn't thinking about ways to crush the psyche and the will of the working class. He's nothing more than an obedient attack dog for the Koch brothers. He's a useful idiot who's found his way to power through a broken electoral system that gives the person who gets 38% of the vote the seat of power. Thanks, winner-take-all electoral system. Some of the good things that have come out of this, however, there has been a bill introduced that would give the state of Maine ranked choice voting. Since here in Maine democracy is healthy and we often have five-way gubernatorial races, and I'd like to point out that the Democratic nominee got 3rd place in the last election, making them the spoiler. We must be careful, also, to not let this anti-GOP vitriol to turn into pro-Democratic Party sentiment by default. They are just as guilty. Oh, well, maybe not just as guilty, but they're guilty. They too have blood on their hands in this perpetual war on the working class. Here in the state of Maine, it wasn't even a year ago that the Democratic Party was trying to restructure our state taxes so that it would accelerate wealth upwards and subsidize tax breaks to the wealthy by sticking it harder to the working class. Everybody was complaining about how the Democrats in power were acting like Republicans. But that complaint that the Democrats are acting like Republicans belies a problem with our system. We have, by assuming that the two political parties offer alternatives, put ourselves in the infantile position of begging for our rights, of begging for our dignity, of begging for social justice. But these things don't belong to the politicians, and they're not theirs to give us. These are things that we own already, but that we must realize ourselves. If we want to realize them in policy, we need to stop begging and start doing. We need to start running for office ourselves and making this happen. It's not enough to vote for the other party. It wasn't the Democratic Party who gave us women's suffrage. It was women. It wasn't the Democratic Party who gave us civil liberties. It was civil libertarians. It wasn't the Democratic Party who gave us the civil rights movement. It was oppressed people. It wasn't the Democratic Party who gave us workers' rights. It was working people. It wasn't the Democratic Party who gave us the right to organize. It was unions, who at the time were illegal. They were called criminal conspiracies. If we want something, we have to do it ourselves. And it's not that both the parties are corrupted and that we're left with no other option. It's that there never has been any other option. If we want to live in a better country, we have to create that country ourselves. If you want to get rid of laissez-faire economic policies where corporations just do whatever the fuck they want and just run roughshod over people, if you want to get rid of this attitude that, oh, we'll just let the free market work it out, then you also have to get rid of laissez-faire politicking. Oh, we'll just let the two parties sort it out. Stop voting for Wall Street's candidates. Right now, Obama is appointing Wall Street goon after Wall Street goon to his administration. He's kept most of George W. Bush's staff, and most of his policies. Obama, with the difference of a few talking points, has been a seamless continuation of George W. Bush's administration. There's one Wall Street monster, and it has two faces. So long as we keep alternating between the two faces of the Wall Street monster, we're still getting the Wall Street monster. We're doomed to continue by our own compliance, the economic violence against ourselves and others around the world, at the hands of the moneyed elite of Wall Street. When we continue to do nothing but vote for the alternating faces of Wall Street, we're doing nothing but pressing the knife more tightly against our own throat. A better world is possible. It's up to us to make it real. This is the Punk Patriot, to life, liberty, and pursuit of a less fucked up government.